Says it is live.
Yeah, yeah. What up, YouTube? Nick Shaheen here with my buddy Ragu, Ninja Ragu. So today was kind of tricky, so we're gonna just dive into the futures. I'm gonna start with the S&P, so the E-mini. That's not so many, and then I'll hand it over to Ragu. He's gonna touch up on a few things, especially crypto. So don't leave. It's going to be a quick 15 minutes, but it's going to be pretty important. At least I want to see what I honestly haven't looked below yet. So let's dive right in. So this is the S&P futures chart, 15-minute candles. I'm not showing the lines we had drawn out here. First of all, we did pretty well tracking today in spite of the surprise drop today. So first things first, what did we see coming? In the morning, we saw a rising wedge forming, kind of a wolf wave pattern, and we had time to draw something on it real quick, and I'll show you where it's at. And I said at the top, we said, okay, we might have a drop to the circle, and they did, and they bounced hard off of it. But then we had the secondary drop after something in the bond market broke. We had something in the bond market pop up, and it's freaked people out. It was a bond auction that didn't go well. It was a long dated auction, so the rates shot up and it spooked everybody. Regardless of why we fell, let's figure out how far can we fall. So we do have some support right where we bounced. Obviously, that's the first level of support. That's 43.54. But we also have a tiny fraction of support, a couple of points lower, and then we have this giant beast right there, a 15-minute candle that was probably too big at the time. So that's the third. And we all know how last week was. I mean, we had bursts, right? So we have to look back to assume, let's say we trip, we have a shelf we can land on. And I would contest that the shelf starts at 4340 dead. So 4340 dead stop. And the bottom of it is about 4325 and a quarter. So let's see how well I did relative to my lines that had already there before the market opened today. So I'm going to unveil my lines and let's see how I did. Oh, look at this, a box set right on the shelf, almost to the penny. Mini support that was there before. So we're consistent. So what does that say? Nothing major has changed except for this violent dip. Okay, so I know it's spooky. I know it's painful. If you got caught, it's too hard not to get caught with this fast one. But these are the levels that I see. So I gave you immediate levels below. Above, we have the basically that green level, which is a moving average that keeps following us, and a whole bunch of more. So it wasn't surprising that we stalled here. I just wanted to make that clear. It wasn't surprising that we stalled here. The manner how we stalled might be a little offensive to a lot of people. But I'm going to pass it over to my friend here. Ragu, I'm going to pull my screen out. And
Yeah.
where is your
Can you just add R2 trading on the backstage so that I can
add what?
R2 trading the second, my screen share unit?
It says device not connected.
Ah,
So, if you want, I can pull up my chart and you speak to it.
okay,
What ticker do you
sure.
want?
So I was going to show the volume profile and
I don't have that for you, but
okay,
so let's jump into the first ticker you wanted to cover.
okay. So the first thing what I wanted to show was SPX so that
The
we know,
SPX.
yeah. So on a 30-minute, yeah, there you go. So if you look at it, we are right above the gap that is right below. So I think hopefully if we hold that, that would be great. My expectations and probability is that we are not going to hold that gap tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow is the options expiry. We might fill that gap to test the lower one, the one that is hanging right in the midair. Okay. It would be surprising if we actually touch the bottom and then clear the second gap too. That would be a real capitulation kind of a thing in a very short time, but that can also happen tomorrow. So be careful, guys, tomorrow. The other possibility is that tomorrow, if things pick up and if the yields drop, we could again have a reversal and go back up. So we are at a very critical juncture right now with regard to SPX, and to a certain extent, NQ is much better than SPX, but SPX is actually at a very critical juncture. So that is one thing I wanted to show. So just be hedged if you can, and don't play the Globex tonight.
Yeah.
I would
So here's
advise.
here's let me piggyback on what you're saying there, Raghu. Sorry for interfering, but it's important to point out this looks like a head and shoulders pattern, kind of. And oddly enough, if you measure this and you draw a 36 point from here, you will cover the gap almost exactly.
That's right.
So what you're saying is that sounds makes sense. So on pops, you want to curl. If you're trading the futures, like I said, on pops,
Mhm.
because we fell apart, you would want to look to see if we're going to sell the rally into 4373 and 4380 81. This is to interpret what Raghu is just saying. So
That
to
is
go
right.
lower, we're going to have to pop. If we do pop, don't mess with it because it might curl back down. And then you also, Raghu mentioned the NQ. And here it's probably a little bit more visible. You see these two crossover, those two moving
Mhm.
averages. I'm pretty sure. um, let's see how we behave when we hit them.
Right.
Because
And this
if
is this is what I wanted to actually have you guys also be aware of. We are in a general uptrend. So when you get a pullback, which could happen, we are just at the same level we were about a week ago. Last 8 days, we were continuous on an uptrend. So we are just back to where we were just about a week ago. So we did a round trip. On a pullback, I think start trying to nibble in for a long sometime mid next week. I'm expecting there is going to be a significant retest of the highs sometime in the Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe. So be prepared for that. Okay.
let me add to that, give some numbers. Okay. So this is the, I love you too. Look at these. I love it. So here are some numbers. By the way, I forget. Don't forget to subscribe and set the bell. And by the way, also, the discussion is open in the comment. Let's discuss it in the comment. And hit the like if you like what you see. And if you're missing something, tell us about it so we can add to the content. So to put line numbers to these comments from Raghu, which are gold, by the way. Um, the retracement, this blue line right here, this yellow line is the heaviest point of volume for whatever you see on the screen. So basically from October until now. Okay. Hi, Lori. So this whole thing is um, basically has the heaviest point of volume here. What is that to say? On a dip, we might cut through this low volume profile thing and
Mhm.
hit a shelf of heavier volume. So think of it like a traffic jam. Both bulls and bears love it more down there. So if we go down there, we might hit it and bounce off. And that happens to be just above the 50% retracement of that whole wow rally that we just had. Okay. It was too hard, but that's good because we tested this. So Raghu is saying, look at it. Look at what happens if we do drop and come back and we hold halfway ish, we could break out on an inverse head and shoulders. So before we look up, let's find out the levels. I'm looking at 15012 on the NASDAQ. That's significant to me. And 14950. And also the zone going into 14845, give it 20, 30 points lower. So like a
Yeah.
little zone here, which would probably cover the path down to 50%. I would also say that we do have a chance of holding here. The giga caps, are they going to follow the sentiment or are they going to
Mhm.
continue to be stars? So Microsoft, look at Microsoft for leadership. All right, what else is on your agenda there,
So
Raghu?
the other thing that was in major news today, and in fact, too much of excitement, is Bitcoin, your favorite one. Let's pull
I
up
love
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Oh man. Oh man. So Bitcoin is going to be, in the last 1 year, I don't know how many of you invested in Bitcoin just a year ago. It's up more than 100%. So it's up more than 100%. And I did post in our live room and also in the Discord channel the Fibonacci levels on Bitcoin. It is headed straight up, guys, because I'll tell you where we are going to have an intermediate peak that is going to be probably in the next 6 months, coming in towards April of next year, where there is going to be what is known as a Bitcoin halving that is going to happen. And by that time, I expect it to be somewhere in the 42,000 to 48,000 range within the next six.
What? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
It may
Look,
not be even till April. We could
look,
get,
look at my screen. Look at the purple arrow.
yeah.
Woo!
So
I'm
42.
smiling ear to ear because we did this. We expected the drop from 2021 late. We bought the dip, not perfectly the bottom, but several chances at buying a bottom. And for example, Beto, the representative of Bitcoin, we were in the 11s in. And after the dividends, we've talked about this. My price is under $9 because of the dividends, which were substantial. So yeah, I expect 42 to 45 was exit part one for me. I would ditch some Solana. I would keep my Ether because you need Ether to transact. And so Bitcoin itself, I think, can go wherever it wants to go. But my first exit is 42 to 45, and we're on track. So yeah, I appreciate you bringing it up because it's one of the things I preach, and people don't appreciate the importance of having
Yeah.
access to money that's not money, so to
So,
speak.
yeah. So today, in fact, there was actually a movement into Ether too. Ether cracked the 2000 mark, and Ether cracked because there was this filing that came in. Someone found that there was a website and a filing for a Ethereum ETF by BlackRock. So that filing was
Ooh.
done with the SEC, and because of that, there was that spike in Ether. So it looks like Ethereum and Bitcoin is more or less getting the blessings of SEC, who have been literally forced to do that by the courts.
Yep.
So that is good for the broader. So there is going to be about at least 10 to 15 ETFs that are probably going to flood the market, okay, in the next 6 months based on just.
Also, Ether has the element of if there's a run on the money in Bitcoin and people
Yeah.
need to get money out or transfer, Ether holds up better because they need Ether to pay for the transactions. So that's a good point there. I'm also long Ripple XRP. Thanks, Wolf. That was a heads up from Wolf.
So
Um,
you're long XRP, and I'm actually I was in the seed funding for Ripple.
all right. So you were in the courts for a couple of years there until they got released.
Yes, I actually was able to get in the seed when they were in the court battle. So
Sheesh.
it was good to negotiate at that time to get some real lowball numbers.
Nice. So I was gonna say I'm so proud of my entry at 48.
So
I
good.
will say
Buy Ripple. Buy Ripple. It is good.
I'm not getting out. This is to keep. I'm not getting out. Okay. All right. We're coming up. We have 2 more minutes. Do you have any final words of
So
wisdom? I
final
know I
words.
spoke.
Yeah,
Go
just
ahead.
just keep an eye on a few tickers that are there. I think you are going to see a little bit of a pullback on Microsoft because of some news that came out late evening. It's all typical news, guys. Don't play the news. There was a article that internally in Microsoft there was a news about stopping developers from using the generative AI development capabilities. Those are all a part of how software companies run the business. When you have third party tools, they have a lot of strict ways in which people can use it, and that news somehow got leaked out, and there is going to be a pullback in Microsoft because of that. I will buy Microsoft whenever there is a pullback. Okay, so these are all things where you want to wait for these kind of news and trade the news. um,
Awesome. And also, you pointed out earlier today in the live room. By the way, if you're not in the live room, get your butts in the live room. We're kicking ass. You pointed out that Microsoft had an all-time closing high.
Yes, today it was again an all-time closing high. Today it touched an all-time high, in fact.
Yeah.
And
So if it dips a little bit, they'll be normal, and then if it catches fire again, this might lead the whole market higher because
and
people
and
won't
just
believe it.
see and just see this. This is a massive cup. Okay, all we want is 2 days of dip today and tomorrow for a little bit of a handle, and we got the first dip today. hope for a second dip tomorrow with lower volumes, which is exactly what we want. And then you'll just look at how it is going to rip up. Okay. Mark my words for this. So that's where I
I'm
would
with
like to
you. I
close
mean,
on a high note.
I see you talking about Microsoft all the time. Oh, we're going over. We can't go over. We're going to get in so much trouble. But tonight is a special night. We're all feeling good. Today was difficult. Tomorrow's another day. Shake out the emotions. If you're in the live room, reach out. If you have issues with any of the setups, reach out. We're all there. All right. So as Climber YOLO says, thanks for the email. Wow. Okay. Good night. And we'll see you later.
Good night, folks.
Thanks, Raghu.